The Valari collective prided itself on mastering war. For centuries, their fleets had crushed rebellion after rebellion, enslaving entire star systems with cold precision. Their doctrine was simple: overwhelming firepower, coordinated formations, and complete psychological domination. No enemy had ever stood against them for long. So, when the Valari High Command received reports of a lone human battleship trespassing into contested space, they laughed. "Humans," sneered Admiral Crassel, his mandibles clicking in disdain. "Primitive bipeds from a death world. Strong bodies, perhaps, but their technology is unrefined. One vessel? We will erase it and teach them fear." The Valari fleet mobilized, 50 war cruisers and nearly 200 escort frigates. Against them floated the UNS Valiant, a single human dreadnought, silent and steady against the darkness. From the bridge of the Valiant, Captain Maravera studied the enemy formation. The Valari ships gleamed with polished armor, arranged in rigid phalanxes. To an outsider, their numbers promised invincibility. But to human eyes, especially eyes tempered by Earth's brutal history of war, they looked predictable. 50 cruisers, murmured her tactical officer. By the book, we're outmatched. By the book, Captain Vera replied with a thin smile, is how they expect us to fight. The Valari hailed them, projecting their threat across the void. You face the fleet of the collective. Power down your weapons, surrender your vessel, and your crew will be enslaved with dignity. Resist, and you will be annihilated. On the bridge of the Valiant, silence followed. Then, with a calm, almost casual voice, Captain Vera answered. Valari, you think you know war. You've never met humans. With that, she gave the order, engage. The battle unfolded with terrifying swiftness. The Valari expected broadside exchanges, slow attrition, fleets grinding against each other. Instead, the Valiant moved like a predator unchained. Its engines flared, tearing through enemy formations at impossible vectors, shrugging off coordinated volleys with layered shielding and armor designed to survive planetary bombardment. The first salvo from the human dreadnought cut 3 cruisers in half. Not disabled, obliterated. Where Valari weapons gouged, human rail cannons punched clean through. Where Valari plasma burned, human missile swarms hunted with adaptive targeting, twisting mid-flight like wolves scenting blood. The Valari commanders tried to regroup. They shouted orders for tighter formations, for concentrated fire. But every adjustment came too late. Because the Valiant fought like no machine they had ever seen. It fought like a beast. Every maneuver, every strike carried the instinct of a species forged on a death world, apex predators who once fought with stone and fire, then iron and steel, then machines of war that darkened skies. War, for humans, was not doctrine. It was instinct. Admiral Crassel watched in disbelief as his perfect formation collapsed. His cruisers, designed for intimidation and control, were being torn apart like prey animals scattered before a wolf pack. This is not possible," he rasped. "One ship cannot." Another explosion shook his command vessel, silencing him as human torpedoes corded through the center. On the bridge of the Valiant, the crew worked with grim focus, but not desperation. To them, this wasn't madness. It was just war. And humans had always been very, very good at war. Hours later, when the last Valari frigate fled into hyperspace, limping and burning, the system fell silent. Where once a mighty fleet had promised dominance, now only wreckage drifted. Captain Vera stood, her eyes on the stars. "Send a message," she ordered. The communications officer nodded. "To whom, Captain?" "To everyone," she said. "Let the galaxy know, humanity doesn't start wars. But if you bring war to us," she glanced at the ruins of 50 ships. "You'll learn what war really means." And so the myth began, of a single human battleship that shattered an empire's pride. The Valari thought they understood conquest. They thought war was theirs to command. But in that battle, against one ship from a death world, the galaxy learned the truth. Humans didn't fear war. Humans were war.